To order. This evening we have some guests from Unitil who are here to discuss with us how well we've done in constructing the building and what energy savings they have. John, if you could introduce our guests, please.
Okay, so let me start with Mr. John DiNapoli from Unitil. He's the municipal coordinator.
Yep, that works.
And Mr. Bill White, also with Unitil.
Yep.
And they're here to do an official presentation of the check for...
Fake check.
Fake check for the energy rebate associated with construction in middle school, high school.
Yeah, you folks should have gotten the check. I believe it was in December or November. It was $83,061. And we reached out through Bill to John to say, hey, I never been in the school. Holy mackerel, this is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So congratulations on that. And when I was just trying to go into the data that our engineers and whatnot had put together for this, for the check of the 8361, found out there are 8 air conditioning units, because it was all based on a comprehensive approach. With a building such as this, we had to model it as you using all the LEDs and the high-tech efficiencies that you put in here versus somebody else not doing that into a regular building. So they modeled it together to come up with a savings of 455,000 kilowatts a year. And if you use that, 15 cents a kilowatt hour, it's about $68,000 a year in savings, give or take. So, but with all those efficiencies that came in, you've got those 8 air conditioning units, you've got 7 variable speed drives, I think it was 1,746 LED internal lights here, and 107 on the outside. So you're taking advantage of what everybody is promoting, we're promoting as your local utility company. And we're very honored to present the $83,000, just want to make sure I get it right, it's $61. So congratulations again.
Thank you very much. I got it.
Oh, it's not a real one.
Bounce.
You know where to get me.
Smile here, and eyes are open.
Yep. The check was covered in my belly.
Exactly. That's Photoshop.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for accommodating. I appreciate it. Enjoy your night, enjoy your meeting.
You guys want to buy another, and all that, you get it.
Producer on Unitil. Okay, proceeding on, I do not have a chair's report tonight, but I just want to take a moment again to say that, thank you for being with us on this long journey and all the time and effort that everybody has put in. We've been through some challenging times, but we've also been through some joyous times, and have enjoyed every moment of it, and I'm glad you're a part of it. Meeting minutes. January the 11th, 2017. Are there any comments or corrections? Seeing none, I will take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful. Monthly invoices. Inga?
So we have Shawmut requisition. By the way, thank you for stopping by and signing in short notice the other warrant. Very much appreciated. Monthly requisition, 194,251.68. I think this is almost billed out. There's what, 1.6 billion left? Million left, roughly, in Shawmut's contract. We have our OPM invoice for $26,000 for closeout services. There is no invoice for TAPAID this month. I do believe there is going to be one maybe next month, maybe the one after. There's still some items to be billed.
Jen's here, so I'll see one.
Yeah, she's here. But we didn't, nothing for FF&E. FF&E is fully billed out, I believe. Correct? John?
We took the shelves that we ordered.
Oh, the
Two
shelves.
shelves.
Okay, so one more for FF&E will come. And then we do have some technology invoices that total $9,445.50. Total for this warrant is $229,697.18.
Are there any questions?
But not about the invoice itself, but I see one of them is about the shaking projector image. So are these these mock-ups of these two test areas we're trying?
Well, what we
Yes.
did was we mocked up one in a location where we braced the wall. That worked. Then we said, okay, well, now we're going to mock one up in a room that we have not braced the wall. That one also worked. So now we're going to release, I think there's 16 other locations where we got to finish up.
We will ask for
Resolve the issue.
So these two were for the mock-ups only. And we do have some money left in the technology budget, so we have authorized to do these mock-ups in order for us to go ahead and find out what the problem was.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll circulate those for signature. Just start that one. I'll go back over. All right, monthly approvals. You going to speak to this thing again?
Yes. So we found the solution that works with those mock-ups, and it's adding a ceiling-mounted hardware to the projector. So the projector will be well-mounted, it will stay as is, but there's going to be a ceiling-mounted piece.
Basically a tube that
Adjust.
comes off the top of the bracket to the ceiling to the structure. In this case, it wouldn't be in this room because it's not needed, but in a classroom.
There
The
is...
ceilings are obviously much lower in
Yes.
the class.
It's more like that.
All right.
So what exactly, because I was not at the last meeting, so what exactly was the problem? You were doing it and the whole thing would jitter?
Well, what was happening during class transitions, the building, because of all the movement on the second floor, was actually transmitting down to the projectors. We tried just bracing the wall to get rigidity. That helped, but didn't solve it. And we found out that in specific locations that we had this issue, by putting a brace from the top of the unit to the structure, it resolved the issue to where it was bearable and usable for the teacher. And it doesn't occur in all locations of the building. It's dependent on where you are in the structure.
It's also more pronounced in the middle school wing because the way that their classes change is different. Not everybody changes it at the same time. So somebody could be using a projector while classes are changing. So
Yeah, we kind of narrowed it down to that by realizing the ones that we had complaints. It turned out that, okay, well, I stepped back and said, well, in the high school, we've only got 2, but over here we have more. Well, it turns out those 2 rooms in the high school are the only 2 that have a different lunch period. So it's during that one single time during the day, during lunch transitions, that the issue was showing up. Very minimal, but it was still showing up.
Not a lot, but...
And then by realizing that, then we came back over here and realized, well, we got grade changes at different times, and it's typically the transponding classrooms above and below that seem to be the issue.
It seems kind of odd that the manufacturer, they're designed for places like this. So it's kind of odd that problem would
It's
exist.
the first time I've ever seen it,
Yeah.
but we found a solution to resolve the issue.
We did do our due diligence. I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
excuse me,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Was the problem since installation, or did it just,
It's
did
been
it
happening
occur
since
after
the
the
very
fact?
beginning.
Okay.
We've had other issues with the projectors. They've also addressed all those.
Mhm.
This particular issue was something that was totally unforeseen.
Okay. And does John have the information in case we have issues in the future that he can address it?
Steve Mendoris has been really close to the contractor doing it. He knows all the information. about
Okay.
it. I'm sure he can get whatever John needs to do that stuff.
All right, great, thank you.
We did do sort of a lot of various testings with the manufacturer and with the consultants in terms of switching the projectors. to see if it's a projector issue, doing various mock-ups or trying to see if it, there's some other like structural problems. The structural engineers were involved to see. So none of it exists. It's just an anomaly of why it's happening. And we did find a solution. That solution to do more of a standard ceiling-mounted version actually works. That is why we're asking to do that for 16 rooms, right? 16 rooms. I'm sorry, the description did not print in English language. I don't know what language to print. It actually, on your electronic version, it should be fine.
Is it a secret message?
Yes. It's encrypted.
I have my decoder ring.
So for 16 projectors, now because it's a technology budget, the funds would come out of owner's contingency. We, as I said, do have some buffer, but the last invoices I think just were submitted today, and I wasn't comfortable transferring just the remainder. So I'm asking to transfer not to exceed the amount of 9,600. It's the full amount for this quote, but we'll probably only need to transfer around 4,000 or 5,000 at the end as a BRR.
So, I do have a question, and that is, did we install them according to the manufacturers?
Yes.
Okay, so,
Per the specifications, per the drawings.
Right.
The units that we installed were as per the approved, so it was just, it's basically an unforeseen condition that nobody saw coming.
Just to assure you, we've had construction meetings,
This has been
I've been rather persistent being convinced that this was...
yeah, that this is ours.
Right.
It's truly
Correct.
ours.
So have I. We've tried and explored all the options and made sure that this is in fact an unforeseen condition that we have to pay for rather than the manufacturer would have to cover.
I mean, we've been battling this since September, trying to make sure that we covered all bases and trying to find the source of the issue.
Or someone to blame.
Yeah.
Well,
And there really isn't.
well, yeah, it's an unforeseen condition
Yeah.
that
Right.
their
We
equipment,
wanted to
while
step
their
through-
instructions doesn't work. That's the unforeseen condition.
And we stepped through every hurdle to make sure that it was going to be there and somehow, not something else. So.
So how did we come, what did the manufacturer say? Besides, oh, sorry, it's not our fault.
They've never seen it before, so they're not exactly sure why this condition exists solely in this place. I used almost the exact same projector in the last school I built and didn't have an issue, so...
We've gone through inquiring with past projects within our office. Tape has done the same. Phil
Structural
and Sean
engineer,
has
AV
done the
consultants,
same.
everything, they all determined to fix it is the path that we've done.
No, I understand there's a way to fix it. I don't care about the way to fix it. I want it to be fixed. I'm talking about the way to pay for it. I just don't seem like it really should be our responsibility for $9,600 because we have to do extra bracing because their own insulation specifications didn't work in these conditions, and they can't, I'm assuming the building is built to code and standard walls and all of this stuff, so...
Buildings are designed to move.
Yeah, that's what it seems to me. It seems to me like it probably has something to do with where it's mounted relative to structural supports to me, and the bounce in the floor, just, the give in the floor, just, those are kind of things that are...
It's not a global issue.
I don't think you can...
You're looking
It's
at
only in
isolated
two-story
locations around
areas.
the building.
Yeah.
So it's not as if their product is flawed in that you would see it everywhere if the product was truly flawed in the installation method.
16 out of 80.
Yeah, it's a low percentage. So that's kind of how,
16 out of 82 is 20%. If you had a 20% failure rate, it's something that's not a great manufactural QC, so...
It sounds to me like it's a combination of a lot of...
I realize I'm fighting a losing battle here. You know what? As long as I don't get rebuked by the committee, I'm fine.
What was the original cost
We're just
of
at a
the unit?
different place in processing it because since September, we've been doing the same thing you're doing in terms of how do you make sense out of this? And this is where we ended up is an unforeseen condition. It's spotty, and we're just grateful that there's a solution that was found because that was pretty invasive for a while too.
Do we know
Did you have a question?
Yeah, the cost of them originally? That was before my time, just roughly? Or?
We didn't supply them. That would be a question.
Cost of the projector?
So probably,
I forget, we had a replacement cost for it before, but off the top, it's been so long since I've looked at the spreadsheet, I couldn't give you the exact number.
Okay.
I can get it.
We can
We
get
can- I can get-
Yeah,
we
I
can
can
get
get
it.
it.
That's not a problem.
Any other questions? So what we're looking for a motion here is we're at the BRR budget revision is in a change order. But we do want the committee's approval to make that budget revision because it's just a matter of moving the dollars from one line to another. And that will then be part of the package of BRRs that will be presented at the end of the project.
Basically, we want to try to get the work released so we can do it during the February vacation week when there's no students in the building. It's one thing to do one classroom, it's another to come in and do 16, but you can't disrupt the school.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, does this drain the technology budget now, if we move those funds, or is it?
So, correct, so that's why we need, we're going to have, if we didn't do any of this, we would have about 4, maybe 5,000 left in the technology budget, which will be applied towards the 9,600. I just can't tell exactly how much we have left, so it may be 5, maybe 4,000. The remainder will be transferred via BRR from owner's contingency, which we have roughly 565,000, I think, in now. So from there, it will be transferred up to technology, which will leave 560,000 in the owner's contingency. The reason why I put the full amount is because I don't know exactly how much we need, and I don't want to go and say, oh, we need another $50. So I'm asking to not to exceed the amount, but we will let you know how much exactly we need by next month.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I've seen the back and forth and the vetting that's been going on in this in the last 4 to 5 months. So I'm convinced that we can put enough thought into this, so I'll make a motion to approve as presented, not to exceed 9,600.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay. Thank you. Well, we don't really have a construction project update any longer, but what we can talk about is some of the final issues that we're going to be dealing with over the next couple of months.
Yeah, we've compiled a list of items that we're tracing towards the end. It's down to less than 2 pages, large print pages. We've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3 items left in commissioning. We've got 2 items in HVAC that are open. They're not really open. They're done. We just haven't done verification yet. Architecturally, we've got some things that we have to wait till spring. The retaining wall by the concession stand's got some cracks in it, and the concrete guy's going to come back and parge that wall and fix those. We've got the exterior scoreboard at the fields to put back up. We've got the foundations in. We've just got to put the sign up. We've been trying to wait for frost, but the weather hasn't been actually cooperative. We get a frost and it disappears. So anyway. So we're still trying to get that put in place. We have some drainage issues down at the southeast parking lot that with the civil engineer and the landscape engineer we're looking at. We're going to wait till spring to watch to see if there's any groundwater movement that's still occurring. And if there is, we may have to do something down there. So we're leaving that item open on our list. The landscaper's got a little bit of work. There's painting of the tennis courts. We got some minor railing and drywall repairs that we're going to hit during school vacation week. Let's see, and then we've got just some items left on the exterior punch list, some of which has to wait till we get into warmer weather, like just some caulking issues and some minor trim. And the rest of it is like balancing reports, submissions, ship submissions. We're trying to finish all that up with the intent of trying to get everything fully submitted with the first week of June, in hopes that we can get the project closed out and get you guys your final payment. So
We're
that's pretty much where we're at.
targeting right now August 23rd board meeting for MSBA, which means we have to have all of the documents submitted to them by June 2nd, roughly. The final date, the 23rd, may change a week back and forth, so they'll confirm in July. They usually give 4 weeks before. But this is our target date because they need a few months, and then the meeting before that we will not make due to all the spring work that we have to do. Not all of it, but some spring work that we have to do. Hopefully we'll make that date, because if we don't, then the next time they meet is October 25th, and which means that we have to submit by mid-August.
But we're going to do everything in our power
So
to...
we're
The spring
aiming
work's driven
for
by Mother Nature, but we're going to try to get it through it as quickly as possible.
Because that meeting means that's the date we go out of business.
So basically, we understand we have to get the spring work done, have to submit the billing for it. The billing's got to go through the process because we need a final bill for MSBA too. So that piece of the puzzle we know is part of the critical path. So
in your experience, is that list that you'd had, is that doable by that time?
it is. The only wild card is the groundwater issue. We do have the engineers looking at it. We gave them the as-built drawings for the civil last week, right, Phil? They have them, and they're looking at possible solutions that we've discussed and walked the project a couple of times now on it, looking at the conditions. So they want to make sure they're really clear on what groundwater movement we really have out there. So they want to wait till spring to take another look at it before they finalize anything. The scope that we're talking about is not horrendous. You know, it's some very shallow drainage being tied into the systems that are out there. Picture a small mini excavator or some stone and some 4-inch perforated pipe. It's not horrendous, but we want to see if it's really necessary based on the groundwater we see in the spring. So.
Okay. One final note on construction. The booth for the field, not in the scope of work, intentionally not in the scope of work, was a sound system for that. They were way back when we talked about the scope, and not including that this was going to be an item that was going to be fundraised for. I spoke to the superintendent, and there is an identified donor who has been generous to us in the past. But I want to keep the committee abreast that, we're going to need that sound system, and if by the fall, and if for some reason we cannot get the donations for it, it will ask us to consider a change order to cover it. We are fully expecting that it will be covered by a donation.
Again, this is a situation where it would be bought directly. You wouldn't have to supplement cups or anything like that. John would purchase it through the town, it just would go through the project.
Do we have a cost estimate for that?
The ballpark there that we have right now is about $10,000.
That's for a third speaker on the base and center and the whole rack.
And a whole rack of amps and
equipment.
such.
And that's just for the
Press box at the new field.
new fields? Okay.
Right.
So that's for announcing and things of that nature?
Well, announcing the game, and actually the system, I've read the specs of the system. You could actually, plug in various incidental music and,
Mhm.
you know.
Okay.
So I just wanted to keep you abreast of that. Is there any comment from the committee?
I mean, John has cut sheets on the equipment that he's proposing, so if anybody wants to see it, I'm sure we can get it distributed.
Seeing no other comments, any other business? I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.